Well, it's episode 46 of
46.
Inane Blather, and we're going to blather inanely. Just like we've always done. Never really get deep into any subject. Never know what subjects we're going to cover. When we start the show, we just blather on and on and on. Nobody likes us. Everybody hates us. Guess we'll go eat worms. But, yeah, doity worms. But it is your favorite moderate centrist podcast.
My favorite? No, definitely not.
I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I don't listen to this.
Podcasting with you. Hosted by...
headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
Yes, also known as...
Head bonked individuals.
Yes, this is the Head Bonked Individuals podcast. And yeah, gosh, I kind of blathered at the beginning. Usually I have at least something to stupidly say, but I'm just all over the place today. It's been... Exactly. It's been 1 week. Or something like that since we last... It's been over a week,
Since last week.
Yeah, it's been a whole week since last week. And
it's crazy how time
it feels like it's been week since I've seen you. But yeah, but it's been kind of nice. It's beautiful out. Oh my God. My flowers are blooming. I've got roses. I've got roses
singing.
From a rose bush that I've been working on that was just growing wild and never blooming next to my driveway. And I finally got some blooms on it this year.
Nice.
And was working on that today, acting like I had anything to do with it. But I kind of
do.
I do.
Roses go, if you don't like trim them up, then they just get like really leggy. They won't really bloom. You have to keep like deadheading them and all that kind of stuff to keep them healthy. But they're very hardy. And if you keep deadheading them, they like bloom all summer long.
Yeah.
They're,
That's the best part.
Got thorns, but they are nice to have. Because these springtime flowers, they're like gone. They're already gone. All the springtime flowers.
And they're so beaueful. And it's so happy. It's like, oh, flowers. And then it's not even halfway through May and they're all dead. Yeah. You're like, oh, crap. I have a bunch of sweltering heat to get through. What flowers am I going to have now? But anyway, I hope that the episodes have been going well for everyone. I've been trying to scoop my chair up right now. I've been trying to upload a little more consistently. I've been staying up, wasting so much time for you guys. And every once in a while, it feels like it's not a complete waste.
They've been known to.
I don't know how I was going to get that worked in there, but... So for all of our listeners,
you've been known to.
Listen up.
I love you.
I love you.
Yeah.
That was a really nice one. Thanks, Inane Blather.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Thank you.
So do you have anything to bring up, or do you want me to just get right into it?
Get right into it. I'm eating beef jerky. I just got home from worky.
Ugh.
I know. That's
God
how
damn.
bad of a situation I'm in.
I'm just going to let it play. That's a long one.
I deserved it because I really thought about not saying it, and then I said it anyways, and I don't know why I did that
Natalie.
to you. I'm sorry.
I don't know what else to say. I'll try not to let it happen again.
Yeah.
Well, one thing. I went to a like an industry trade association conference last week, which is just a great little insight. I would assume for most any, like, that's what I call it, at least. I think it's a trade association conference, right? All of these in a certain industry, you belong to an association. They pay all these fucking dues and stuff like that and get a network of support from similar businesses in your industry. You have all these vendors at conferences and speakers. Last year we had Marcus Trufant, which was kind of cool.
Ooh,
but this year we had a paralyzed guy. No, he was really cool, but not little different at 8 a.m. Listening to him. Oh my God, I went down, I got there and immediately had 3 Starbucks coffees because it's all free.
And I was 3 gin and tonics.
Oh God, by the time it was like 10 o'clock, I was like, whoo, man, is the day over yet? No, it's only just begun. But it's a great little peek into, just the owner class bullshit that goes on and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And especially, I mean, the position that I'm in, like so many people that were at this conference, because our company makes all of us go every year. I mean, whatever. I go to Seattle, I get a hotel room for free and do something different, meet people.
Sleep in a big bed. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, they were running out of room, so I had 2 king-size beds in my room.
Oh, my God.
Got to it.
What is that for?
At 10:45 at night, so I could get up at 6 a.m., and it's like I had this giant double king hotel room for no reason.
Double king, wow.
Yeah, but it's at the Hilton, But yeah, anyway, like, and I really started writing some stuff down just because, I had a few things written down because it's interesting jumping off points just for like complaints about capitalism or just, more the ins and outs of the modern American capitalism and stuff. But
yeah,
the main... I don't know. It's like, do I just not talk about what I do? Have I ever mentioned like my job? No one listens to this fucking show. Who cares? If I become
everyone who does knows what you do.
Yeah, if I become a massive celebrity overnight, like we plan on doing, then whatever.
With that one Instagram post that I just
posted, people can come see me at work. I don't care, but I just don't want anyone showing up at my house ever. Especially since we started getting some hate comments finally. That's fun.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's how you know you're doing it right.
I have a guy telling me, you will never be a woman. Like, thanks, I hope not. I'm not transgender, so.
Going out of his way to, like, interact with our content and, like, watch all of our stuff. It's like, thanks, bro. That's really nice of you. I really appreciate it.
That day because he wanted to, he was really just caping for stone toss for whatever reason. It's because they came across they came across us from me commenting on an old Thought Slime video, and because I was rewatching. This is total tangent, but this is Inane Blather, and
this is absolutely lit.
This is what I'm talking about. And
the American people are tired of women.
Yeah, I'm never gonna have that like not totally out of place, but it's way funnier that way. But yeah, it was kind of funny. I was watching a stone toss thing about a Thought Slime thing about stone toss. If you're on the internet, in any political spheres and stuff, or any sort of terminally online stuff, you see stone toss. But it's just a fucking Nazi comic. It really is. Some of it's a little, more obviously crossing the line. A lot of it is just kind of anti-PC with some real edge to it. About. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it was funny because just kind of listening and scrolling through some comments while I was on the toilet. And then I was like, oh, man, there's like recent comments on this. And so I sorted by new. And then I noticed the dislike ratio because I don't use YouTube. All right. You got to use some sort of third party. So the dislike ratio was crazy. And I was like, there's like a third of it was dislikes, which usually Thought Slime only gets all that controversy when it's like left on left. All hating each other, that happens a lot.
So they attracted some real right wing.
Yeah, but instead I was like, I might have seen a comment reflecting exactly that situation too. But I said it's becoming obvious that now people are like searching just for stone toss, like to see like a compilation or comics or something on YouTube, and this video was coming up right at the top, and it's making a lot of people really mad. And so it's like
not exactly the community it's intended for, but
it might be like 3 years old, the video or something. Yeah. And I was like, it's really funny. And so as soon as you post something like that, then these right-wing nut jobs are just like yelling at you.
Makes me want to go post right now.
Yeah, and that's why that guy was suddenly like, you'll never be a woman, blah, 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 you're a degenerate, your podcast sucks, fuck you. And like,
your podcast sucks so much, I'm going to listen to 3 episodes. Like,
yeah.
Why?
And
just ignore us.
No, they at least clicked on them. They didn't dislike them. And they also didn't listen, because then they're talking about the shitty podcast on like a music upload. I was like, okay, you could have talked so much shit and maybe actually hurt my feelings if you wanted to, and you didn't. It's like, but
like, wow, they really don't have a life picking a fight with us.
Yeah, and I saw that at like 8 to 10 comments into this, I was like, oh, they just created the account today. Like, they created the account to troll our channel.
Because you guys got in a fight on Twitter.
We have 23 subscribers. But, yeah, it was pretty funny. But anyway, so yeah, because I work in storage.
But if they're listening, thank you for listening.
I work in storage. Come at me. You know, check out my guns on Instagram. And I don't mean literal guns, because I got mental problems.
I don't need a gun in the house. God.
Yeah. Guns?
Very dangerous.
Yeah.
That's it. That's jailable. That's jailable.
Just
Throw
about.
him in jail right now. That's jailable.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But yeah, and so I work in storage, and it is kind of an interesting dynamic. Every different industry has their unique, worker-manager relationships or worker-owner relationships. But storage is, there's a pretty broad range, too, especially because it's generally giant capitalist property holdings that are managed by, like, one wage-paid worker, like one or two, So it's like someone who's managing it and stuff like me, like I'm still, a worker. I work for them. I get paid by the fucking hour, and stuff, and deal with customers and stuff like that. But sometimes the people who own it, they could be managing it, and that happens at some places. Sure. So they own it, they live there, they manage it. There's all these different ins and outs. But you go to these conferences, and 75% of the people in there are managers like me. It is interesting talking to some of the owners. Some of these guys own like tens, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of properties, like especially within like, or they are the CEOs of like companies that hold all these properties and stuff. But I mean, you're working for, it's like you're wage paid landlords. I was thinking about it today. Like, I'm a property manager. What a shitty position to be in. Like, you're renting to people, and you don't even own the capital,
Yeah.
It's like you're not even exploiting these people, Yeah. It's like, I'm the middleman for exploitation. But, I mean, it is storage. It's not, it's not housing. So at least I can feel better about that. But being at these conferences where, like, they really get on... All they talk about, of course, is how to make more money. But being in this rent-for-profit industry and having any sort of just wokeness about you, any sort of anti-capitalist notions, and talking to some managers, some of them do as well, like... where it's just kind of exchange glances like, Jesus Christ, sit here and talk about just putting your foot on the neck of all these people to get as much money as possible out of them. I have to spend all day listening to this. It's just really interesting. One thing, and so half of the day isn't about like just the this is what you should be doing to wring as much profit out of your customers as possible, because that is the other half of it. But and there's lunch. That was pretty good. But
plus lunch.
Yeah, plus lunch. There's a cocktail reception afterwards. I didn't go to that. But the first half, a lot of it has to do with laws. And a big part of being in a trade association like that, at least ours, is lobbying efforts. I mean, you're seeing that side of good old capitalist innovation, right? Is lobbying the government to keep things in your favor at all times, right? So we have a national lobbying group and then state by state to do state houses and stuff. And we've had the same state lobbyists for a long time, I guess. I should just send you pictures of these guys because it's just even better. Yeah, like yeah, it's kind of like it's funny. The real goofy younger guy was the guy who was like, "Yeah, I'm an attorney." Like, it's like, oh, this fucking guy went to law school. But I mean, they're smart, quote unquote, for what they do. They are, but
they went to
some
law
of it
school,
is just so gross. Like, it's so gross, and it's really like. So the capital owner class, right, has so much power over the worker, especially in modern American labor relations, especially because we have so few unions and less union power, right? If you're looking at this broadly, so unions of the unions. Now have some funyuns. Hunyuns. And rub my bunions. But
nice. Much better than jerky after worky.
No,
I'll tell you that much.
I usually have jerky at worky. And yes, I'm talking about beef. It's like, and yes, I'm talking about meat.
Yeah, jerked meat.
I don't even care that he's a misogynist.
Oh, no, that's not it. But
fucking stupid F-word bitch.
So what was I saying? Okay, so you're looking at this broad view. You've got two sides, and truly it's almost without it feels like unions kind of step in the way of the so-called free market in terms of finding equilibrium, but without that, it's so exploitative. It just is, because anyone who owns capital is starting off from a better position for any sort of negotiation. They're like, I'm going to pay you as little as I can, give you as few benefits as I can, and still get you to stay here. But the worker, of course, on their own, well, I have to stay here because I need to live, right? So unions,
I guess, if you need to live.
Yeah, I need food and shelter, right? I need something. Yeah, I've got nothing better to do is really the best. But
so I guess I'll just live.
Right, so that it actually levels the playing field a lot more. So instead of individual worker with zero bargaining power other than, well, it might be hard to find a replacement, I guess, maybe, and instead it's workers as a collective versus the owner. It's a lot more level. But what's funny is that it really just reminds me of unions in like a bad way, where they get another step up, because a trade association like this, it's like a union of capital owners. And I think I've brought this up on the podcast before, but it's like they all go in, all these businesses pay their dues to get in here, all the network, to have this kind of solidarity, try to get that. I mean, they're sending out action items to call Congress about this and that for lobbying efforts. Those lobbyists, they do their job. It sucks at how greasy it is, but it's like, man, what an interesting job, to be honest. Like, just like objectively, going in and
I think,
and they help. But But when it comes down to
I would love to be a lobbyist for like Amnesty International.
Sure, yeah,
and be a human rights lobbyist, or like for one of these groups, because lobbying, definitely gets a bad rap because of exactly these kind of things, like oil industry, blah blah blah. But there are lobbyists for groups like LGBTQ rights, like Native peoples.
Because if you're a trade association lobbyist, it means that you're not. Yeah, you're just being a voice for the powerful. I mean, it's not like the storage industry is some powerful behemoth, but it's like,
I bet it's worth
like
lots of
gigantic.
money. Like,
yeah, exactly. Either way, regardless of how much money it's worth compared to some other industry, it's a bunch of capital owners. It's a bunch of people that, have everything that they need and work to get more. That's the name of the game. And it's like, well, they really need a voice. Oh, I'm so sure. Fuck off.
Yeah, they don't have enough of a voice.
And on one hand, I'll hear them talking about a law where it's like, oh, with the way that this bill was written, because they go over highlights of what they've been doing over the past legislative session and yada yada. But some of them, like, it's like, oh, good thing that the trade association has someone there to talk to lawmakers and say, hey, this would negatively impact our industry in a way that you do not intend because of how this law is written, right? It's like,
sure,
this would include us, even though you're actually trying to target like Amazon warehouses maybe. And it's like, and this is a popular thing. It's like, the way that you have this written, it might like completely fuck up a whole bunch of storage stuff, and people are going to raise their prices or whatever it might be, or people are going to have to, they don't know if they're up to code, whatever it might be. It's like, oh, so you have someone in the room to tell a legislator that.
A perspective.
But on the other hand, the other half of their stuff is just them bragging about getting laws shot down because they raise taxes. And in some roundabout way, like, the biggest one, and the one that our association president and the president of the company that I work for, who are one and the same, he was the champion of this effort with our lobbyists to shoot down this popular tax hike on like raising marginal excise tax on property sales for properties over $10 million. And they're all clapping and applauding themselves. It's like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Why are you guys clapping for this? These people in the room, you guys make less money than I do. And I'm never going to buy a $10 million home and worry about the increase up to 0.8% more in these sales taxes on property. Like, what the fuck? And what does this have to do with storage? You guys are all sitting up front, and you're all landholders and landlords, and all these people that do storage, they probably also own rental homes, all that stuff, multifamily stuff. Oh my gosh. It's just...
Yeah, no, it feels like a gross... Like, the whole reason behind all this lobbying, too, is just to make the industry more lucrative.
Yeah.
Like, to be, like, a prosperous industry.
Instead of being a voice for an
also,
industry
like,
or group that isn't being heard. That's what lobbying should be for.
And the group that they're trying to protect is one that, like, really preys on, like, the American obsession with like material possessions too, and how we have so much excess, and how we have to have storage units to hold our stuff in, and like trying to get people to pay more for that, or to need more storage or whatever, like to advertise to them and all these kinds of things.
And you get to turn it around on them and be like, what? You're the one who has all this shit. Fine, get rid of your stuff.
They're like, I don't have storage. They're like, I don't keep stuff in storage. That's disgusting. I have stuff at my house. Or not one of these.
Yeah, one of the storage
places.
owners. Yeah. They're like, ew, I keep it in my garage, you weirdo.
Yeah, it's like
next to my
controlled
Audi.
And like, I have an outbuilding for that. You guys don't have outbuildings
I had to
in
get
condos?
storage when I renovated my second kitchen. But and not all guys are like that. But what's funny is that the best you can get. I've been lucky enough to work for a couple of owners that are genuinely good people, And
Sure,
like liberals,
of course.
that's the best you can get is liberals, you know? Like my current boss, he's amazing. And that's why like we make a smidgen more of money or we expand, we get raises. He gives us bonuses. He gives us all that. You're still a wage slave. I still work technically for, I don't know, for a corporate management company, but like, and we sit there and we talk every once in a while when he's over working on the property, and he's, you know, I get his mail there. He donates to the Democrats, and he hated Trump and all this stuff, you know, and he gets stuff from a couple, I think I saw Emily's List and Amnesty International and on something, you know, he gets mailers and all that crap. So it's like, okay, he's not some freak like a lot of these other guys are. Another thing that this crotchety old fucking guy that's always on the board of our association screams every year and brags about how he's always made sure there will never be rent control in Washington State, and it'll never have been and never will be. And people are clapping for this. It's like, I'm not clapping for that, you psycho. Like, what are you talking about?
Go outside and see all the unhoused people and see how well that works.
That's the thing. So I wrote this down. Okay, they killed marginal real estate excise tax increases. Very proud of it. Okay, so I went over that. Rent control. Okay, yeah. So, for one thing, they're sitting here complaining about homelessness as an issue while gleefully and proudly killing every semblance of rent control policy that they come across, trying to. And it's like, and they want this rent control, you know, They hate it, of course, because they are landlords, even though it isn't housing, it's storage. It's not necessary. I mean, sometimes it could be quote unquote necessary if you want to keep your stuff and you're building a house or you're moving somewhere.
Or you have a
move
small
somewhere
place and you suddenly have no room for stuff.
You get a roommate. It's like, okay, let's get a storage unit, you know, so we can keep my stuff safe. I have Christmas stuff, you know.
For sure.
Or there's like, I have to store my entire
outbuilding.
house and live in a tent until my house is, until my place is finished, you know, whatever. But still, it's unnecessary, you know, objectively. But they, and we don't have rent control on storage. Some states do, in terms of, you know, you can't raise rent more than 10% each year or something like that.
Yeah.
Which most places just don't do that anyway. It's like you don't want to just drive people out. Even though, as they go over many times, they're like, what? People say that, they don't leave. Just keep raising it. They're not going to leave. And it's like, I mean, that comes up a lot. It's like, God, it sucks even thinking about that. But I heard mention of it. It's like the reason that they always want to shoot down rent control for housing is because these, the owners and stuff really believe in like a slippery slope, would, you know, start expanding to commercial entities and real estate holders and stuff. Like they just don't want it there because, as soon as they get any sort of rent control, they can't even get anything like that done in Seattle. You know, you got a fucking socialist on the city council. But it's part of,
for 10 years.
It's in like the Washington State Constitution, I think, is the problem. Is that it's very hard to get any sort of constitutional way of having rent control, whether it's in your city, your county, or in the state. But they fear that as soon as that happens, like, oh my God, that's going to affect me. I'm not going to be able to squeeze every single dollar of profit out of every transaction that I can get in perpetuity until I die with, you know, my balls
more
full
wealth
of gold
than I could
or
have
whatever
ever
it is.
spent.
Yeah. It's like, or even just something of excess. It's like, that's what you spent your life doing, you know?
Pretty empty.
Oh, and I also said, it was interesting though, having a speaker on stage with a loaded gun at a storage conference. So,
no.
Well, because we had a a sheriff speak to us. So I was like, out of context, I was like, that's funny. It's like, this is interesting that it's it was like 9:30 in the morning at a storage conference, and there's a man with a loaded gun on stage talking to us.
Was he talking to you guys about security?
He was such a thumb too. Yeah, for security, and mostly it was actually a lot of it was about the right. It was at sheriff. Yeah, sheriff's office itself, especially on the west side, because of how much they cover, and they're connected with these sheriff's offices and the way that they exist. He was the King County sheriff or something. And it's like, it's so crazy that I was like, this guy has said more, quote unquote, like kind of woke and aware things while he's on stage than like the our speaker in the afternoon did for an hour, because he was like just all about
Yikes.
like, yeah, and it was like, oh, and he was talking about, I mean, yeah, about homeless issues, how we need to do something about it through this and that, and I mean, it is what it is. We need drug prevention and rehabilitation and clean needle sites and stuff, just kind of mentioning offhand, because that's what they try to do over on that side of the state, your side of the state. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay. He's not like the lobbyists who are up there like rolling their eyes saying like, oh, what could ever be wrong if we have activist judges in the Supreme Court? Am I right? Like, it's like some comedy
Did they say that?
bit.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah. Activist judges. You want someone like,
and then they have to
Clarence
reiterate.
Thomas, someone looking out for you, you dumb fuck.
Yeah, they have to reiterate over and over. It's like, hey, and we're equal opportunity. We work with whoever. I mean, whether it's, you know, at the state level, it isn't quite as sharp of a difference, and it's easier to reach across the aisle.
Definitely.
Yeah, but still, at the same time, he's like, but, you know, of course, we end up siding with the GOP more often because they're more business friendly. But besides, that doesn't matter. We work with Democrats too. It's like, stop saying that. I don't care. Like, you're just talking about how many tax increases.
This is just a job. I'm not
going to
be like, wait, what? You guys don't align with the Democrats? I'm going to quit immediately.
Yeah, it's
right?
like, you have us held hostage here at this conference.
Yeah.
We're managers. Like, we're wage
I work
slaves.
at a storage facility. I don't think that you guys are liberals.
We're waiting
at all.
for lunch. Yeah.
Yeah. Move it on.
But yeah, there was, I mean, if I had done it like, if I'd been able to just podcast immediately afterwards or something, I'd have so much to say. And I stopped writing things down with our afternoon speaker because it made me sick. There's something about rich white Southern people that just, it's like, it's pure projection always that they think that coastal liberals are the condescending ones. Fuck you. Like, oh my God. It's just dripping with condescension constantly. I'm like, why am I even listening to this? What's funny is my boss was even like, she was even like doing some paperwork that I'd given her just during that because I know she wasn't listening. And then he was like talking and he grabbed her paperwork and it was like just showing, because using his hands and using it as an example, he's like, if you got the contract right here. And I was just looking, I was like, that's certified. That's mine. That's my certified mail. But
just grabs it out of her hand.
Yeah. It was on the desk. But I was like, oh, I guess she's going through my paperwork. That's good. but it was
gross.
Yeah, it was too much, honestly, to keep writing down. And I know he would have called me out or something. He was really more interactive, and
yeah, I'm sure you guys could have been pretty antagonistic.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to say anything. Like, this guy sucks, man. Like, why are you talking to us? Like, you should walk over to the owners and talk to them about how to, automate us that are sitting here in front of you out of a job. Like, how about you talk to them about that, not us? We don't want to hear it, man.
Yeah, how about we automate your job? What are you even doing?
Yeah, or how about since you're from Alabama, if you walked into a store and someone said, hi, how are you doing? And they didn't stand up when the customer walked in, you'd fire them on the spot. Okay, buddy.
Oh my
How about you go back to
God.
Alabama?
How about you go back to like 1860?
Yeah, I was like,
God.
where do people do that. What are you talking about? Like,
why would it even matter?
I don't know if people do or not. I realized at that point that I don't notice, and I don't think that, I mean, if someone's at a desk and you walk straight up to them and they say, "Hi, how can I help you?" Do you notice if they stand up when you walk through the door or not? I don't know.
That would be weird.
Yeah, I know.
If they stood up.
Stand up so what? I can
like what?
sit down? Like,
yeah.
what are you talking about? It'd be another thing.
So I can stand above my keyboard and type.
Yeah, so I can stand up and just sit back down. And be like, please sit. I guess if you were standing up, so you say, please sit down. I guess. But people don't do that either.
What a weird... Yeah, rich white men are the worst. Like when we go out and canvas neighborhoods and stuff, we try really hard, to like have a good attitude and not judge a neighborhood and all that kind of stuff. Some of these rich
white
boomers, it is really hard to talk. Huge home, overlook this beautiful view and stuff. I walk up, knock on the door. Hi, my name's Natalie. I'm here to talk to you about our campaign to end gun violence. He's just like, I like guns, and I'm like. Okay, and he just like go like I forget exactly what he said. He was just like, I like guns, and I was like, oh, this isn't a gun control measure. He's like, I don't care, and just like shut the door. And it's like
you're like, I brought a pocket pussy violence. If you want to trade it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
this is safer than what you do.
You like guns? Yeah. Do you like gun violence?
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to talk about gun violence, and your immediate reaction is to say, I like guns. You must know that when I'm talking about gun violence, we're talking about, like, school shootings and, like, children. It's, like, the #1 cause of death for kids in America and stuff. And your immediate reaction is to be so incredibly selfish and to be like, I like guns, and I don't give a fuck about the tens of thousands of people that die from gun violence every single year, including all those school children. Like, just go away. Like, it's so the attitude.
They're not working. Yeah. They don't matter. They're not part of the labor force unless you're in Iowa or whatever it is.
Or,
so you can
working McDonald's in the Midwest.
You're 14 years
like 10
old.
years old.
Oh yeah, working for free.
Yeah, 10 years old.
Yeah, no, but I mean legally now. Yeah, it's like I'm here to talk about. Drunk driving. I like cars. Okay. Well, I'm talking about fatal accidents. Fuck off.
I like alcohol. Yeah. It's like
I like
cars. That's
like
yeah.
Okay.
It's like, do you like people dying from cars, or
I'd rather
how many of you
not
do?
comment.
Yeah, I would actually really like to have a conversation with you. And like,
as he pulls the keys to his car out, and you're like, okay, all right.
all right, buddy. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go watch Cars right now.
I'm gonna go eat
cars.
some cussy. Go get all up in that cussy.
Oh no!
You know what? Speaking of cars and sort of on that thing, since we're I don't know if we're wrapping it up, sort of getting close to the end of this year.
No,
that's okay.
This whole time, gross.
I just had speaking of cars, I had this update to our manifesto of petty grievances. Though, though it's not, I don't know, petty, whatever.
No, yeah, you go.
It's fucking annoying, is what it is. So okay.
What?
You ever drive? You ever drive on the highway? Highway driving. You see a sign, and it's like,
I drive on the low way.
No way.
That's it. That's jailable.
Okay.
If people could have seen the emotions and
the emotions too. It's because it was over the internet.
E-boy,
so everything I do is
emotions.
emotion.
Yeah. Yeah. Yikes. So there's signs that say gas at this exit, and so I'm like, sure, I'm gonna take this. I've driven across the country a bunch of times having to take these exits. You know what's really annoying?
When they're not right there.
Is once you already, oh my god, when you already get off the exit and it's like, like this is kind of going a little ways, this exit, and then it's like there's a sign, it's like gas to the right. 1.5 miles or something like that. I'm like, what the fuck? And now maybe I've taken an exit.
Oh, and once you get back on the freeway,
and you can't get back on though. Sometimes like
will be full of truck stops and all this stuff. You're like, God damn it!
I'm just trying to follow the signs. I don't want to be on my phone necessarily. It's like, I'm driving hundreds of miles at a time or whatever. It's like I don't need it. I don't need my GPS, so I'm just gonna like stop off at a gas station. So why from the highway do I not get an indication that this is like a drive way down there? If you need like needing gas, like I need to take this exit for gas, it's pretty fucking stressful. If you're like, oh my God, where is this gas station? Like, no, I can't get right back on the highway right here. I got to go down a little ways and go back on this other on-ramp, like blah, blah, blah.
It's like the town I live in. I think that they have
thing.
one. I think it's up there right now, but one of the... And there's a few things too, tourism things, a lot of wineries,
lodging,
but one of the food next right is Subway, which is in the middle of town. It's like 2.5 miles.
That's like down across.
Cross the river. It's the
and
only
you have to go down. It's like, where am I
fast food
going?
restaurant in the entire city, and it's like tucked away. I think in Othello it was like that, McDonald's, and it's like that's way off of there. If you just take the other one, there's a ton of shit right there on the highway. There's a Burger King that you can see. You could probably hit with a baseball out of your convertible, when you're driving by on the highway. But the McDonald's, that's the one up on the sign, and it's gonna you're gonna wonder, you're gonna turn around a block before you get there and just be like, am I going the right way? What is this
Where
place?
am I?
Yeah.
Get me out of here.
Othello, Washington?
People
what
live here?
Yeah. 6,000 people live here.
Why? Yeah.
Live where? Here. But what is this?
Yeah.
I still don't get it.
I don't know if you call it living, but also I'm watching it right now and it's making me really want to. I gave up vaping today.
Hey!
So yeah.
Well, I don't have applause, so
I've thought about it. Yeah. I've thought about it a lot today, really wanting it. So I have not given in.
Not like it,
and I do have.
Not like it helps at all, but I warned you.
That's what I warned Kelsey when we first started with these Zyn tobacco pouches.
What I was saying.
Where I was like, people get addicted to it, and then one day I just got a vape, and I was like, yeah, of course I love this. I love to smoke. I love what I want for my birthday. If anyone needs any birthday gifts ideas, is a big tall mug thing with a straw in it, like a travel water thing, so I can just get my oral fixation with hydration. So
fixation
that's
through
the thing
hydration.
Sometimes I just would suck on my vape even when it was dead. Like if it died when I had it and it was the only one I had, I would find myself still doing it, and I would still just do it.
I've pulled a pen out of my pocket, like a literal ink pen.
I've accidentally tried to suck on my lighter on accident.
Lighter? Yeah. Oh man, that's just like my go-to vape is like a lighter. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? I don't even have anything to light. I don't smoke cigarettes. But
yeah.
Well, okay. Well, we'll wrap this up. Just everyone remember
that we love you.
Though I love democracy, free election of masters does not abolish the masters or the slaves. Free choice among a wide variety of goods and services does not signify freedom if these goods and services sustain social controls over a life of toil and fear. That is, if they sustain alienation. Why don't you think about that? No, it's true.
You write that?
All of these I came up with that. I'll just say, since we only have so many listeners, one person might just be like, wait, isn't that Herbert Marcuse? Nope, no, that's me.
Yeah. Shut up, Zach.
Yeah, exactly. I love you, Zach.
Let us have this one.
But Herbert Marcuse from The One-Dimensional Man. Listening to some of that, and it's really good.
That's really profound.
Yeah, a little further past.
That's whatever you're talking about for
socialism and democracy, the Frankfurt School sort of thing. It's very interesting. Anyway, love you.
Shout out to R.M. Brown, our Lord and Savior, Emily, Kelsey, Zach, Ryan, Anita.
Inane Blather. Okay. Sounds like you're pretty into this, buddy.
Yeah. We're in too deep. 46 episodes. So
it's too much.
Nothing to show for it except for love and appreciation and creative fulfillment.
Listeners.
No, not for our listeners, no. But okay, we love you all. All right, love you, bye.
Okay. Bye.